We are joined here backstage at Fury MMA with Fury commentator and UFC Bantamweight Brad Pickett. Brad, it's been around 6 months since you've been in the cage. How have you been?
I've been good, mate. I've been obviously back in England at the moment, been training. Always keep in shape outside of fight camps, but have a fight announced now, so I'm going out to American Top Team in a week today for 7 weeks before my fight.
And you're back up to 135 to take on Thomas Almeida. Before we get into the fight, can we talk about your time at 125? Looking back at that drop down, where do you think it went wrong for you, and ultimately, do you regret doing it?
Obviously the weight cut was the first thing. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world, but I could do it. I've done it 3 times, so I was getting used to making that weight. It wasn't so much the weight class, it was more the styles and matchups down there. For me, it wasn't fun. You know, I like to get involved in fights, and down there is very much of a point scoring sort of system, hitting and running, and it just didn't really interest me fighting those type of guys, you know. I like to get involved in a fight. I'd fight them for 15 minutes, come out the fight with not a mark on me, and for me as a fighter, I feel robbed of a fight, you know. Don't get me wrong, I know it's the way mixed martial arts has gone a little bit, but it's just, if I can avoid them type of fights, I'd rather do that. And I think there's more fights for me that make sense and big fireworks at bantamweight. So I'm going back up a weight class, and yet again I went to the weight class. First guy to give me is Thomas Almeida. That has fireworks. He doesn't have a back step in him. I don't have a back step in me. We're literally just gonna clash.
And where do you see Thomas Almeida's strong points and weak points?
Strong points would be striking. Obviously, he comes from shootbox. He has a very good like a shootboxing sort of style. Very good with his punches. Weaknesses, it's hard to say. He's only had a couple of fights in the UFC and dealt with those 2 guys. But I say, if there's any weakness, I say he does get hit, and I hit hard, so it would definitely make for a fun fight. So I think he's got not a bad jaw, but I think I'm going to test it to the best of his ability and see how strong his jaw actually is.
And you're fighting on UFC 189, arguably the biggest UFC card of the year. How excited are you to be with it?
Well, for me, fighting anyone in the world, I don't care, it's my job. But it is nice to be put on, like I'd say, the biggest card of the year on International Fight Week in Vegas. So yeah, it's great for me, for exposure-wise. But at the end of the day, a job's a job. You know, if I'm fighting Thomas Almeida in the MGM or I'm fighting him in my back garden, you know, a job's a job, and I'm going to win no matter where. You know, that's what I want to do.
And you fight along fellow Brit John Hathaway at UFC 189. Can you see him getting past Gunnar Nelson?
It'd be hard to say. As in, like, I think styles make fights. And I think I think Gunnar Nelson is very good. Don't get me wrong, very good. But I think John Hathaway's style kind of beats that style up takes down very good ground and pound stuff. But Hathaway's been out for such a long time, so you don't know if ring rust would play. It's a very interesting fight to call, actually. It's too tough for me to call that one.
And finally, Conor McGregor or Jose Aldo?
It's got to be Aldo for me. Don't get me wrong, I think Conor McGregor is legit. I know he talks a lot, but he has backed everything up he's done. I think he is legit. But I think with Aldo, he's been a little bit stale recently. He hasn't looked at his best. He's looked good against Chad Mendes, don't get me wrong, but what I think is like he's been at the top of his game for such a long time. I remember fighting with him back in WEC days. He was an absolute killer. And I think just because he's been at the top of his game, beating everyone, he hasn't had that, I don't know what I say, drive. In my eyes, how I explain it, every hero needs a villain. And I think Conor McGregor is that villain, which will bring out the best in Aldo. And I think Aldo is going to look amazing that night.
Well, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to your fight with Almeida. It's going to be explosive. We can't wait. Good luck.
Appreciate that.
Take care.